Okay. Well, first, I'd like to welcome everyone today. My name's Tammy Eisenreich, and I am parent support for the Lucas County Board of Developmental Disabilities. I am thrilled. This is our first of hopefully 12 this year, grant powwows, and I'm thrilled to have my favorite, currently favorite, which you have been for a couple of years now, my favorite organization, Parker's Purpose, and their wonderful executive director, Todd Drusback, with us today. He's going to share a little bit about this great organization, and then afterwards, if you guys have any questions, please feel free. I know he's more than happy to answer anything you have, and you'll be glad to know I only have an hour, so I will not be doing any talking today. So I will let Todd do this. And did you want me to start with your presentation, or did you want to something?
Should I share my screen, Tammy? Thanks for the introduction, by the way.
Oh, that's wonderful. If you can do it, that would be perfect.
Okay, I'll try to see how this works. Hopefully I can get this figured out. Okay. Did that work by chance? Well, hold on a second. Seems like I'm frozen.
I think we're seeing your, there we go.
Okay, does that work? Perfect. All right, well, we will go the quick version on this. First off, I really appreciate Tammy inviting me. It's really been an honor to have been a part of Parker's Purpose since its inception. So I'll give you kind of the quick PowerPoint as far as how we came about, what we do, and then how we can help you and your families get assistance. So how we were founded was back in 2008. Parker Inc. was one of my kicking ball and T-boys. So I was the head football coach at Fremont St. Joe, and unfortunately Parker got sick. Myself and a few others did a bunch of fundraisers for their family, and it was such an overwhelming display of support that we thought, why not keep the giving going? Parker miraculously recovered, and we figured there was a lot of families out there like the Inkses, and so that's how Parker's Purpose was formed. So this is Parker. Now this is a really old picture, right? And this was in the 3rd or 4th grade, I believe. And Parker just recently graduated from Bowling Green University. Sorry for the noise. I'm a teacher, and this is my planning period, so that's the bell. So Parker graduated from Bowling Green this past December. Just a miraculous story. He has muscular dystrophy. He's contained to a wheelchair. Like I said earlier, he was our kicking ball and T-boy from 2007 to 2014. When I moved to Rossford, which is where I'm currently at now, he also did that at times also. So when he was younger, he also did some motivational speaking for our team. And it was extremely uplifting for our guys. They saw that, they needed to maximize their God-given gifts on a daily basis and really inspire our kids to make sure that we do that. Talked about the struggles. So he was in the hospital for 30 days. At the same time, I didn't mention his mom, Patty, was supposed to start chemotherapy. So it was an extremely trying time for the family. And like I said, miraculously, Parker recovered, and we did a bunch of different fundraising efforts that was extremely uplifting for myself and the others involved. This was the last event that we did, and after that event, which you see, it's June 6th, I want to say 2010 or no, 7, we started Parker's Purpose. So yeah, 2008, we started. This is our mission statement. And so basically we give monies to families that have children with a life-altering illness or disability. We also, though, want it to be an experience for the giver as well. We know that, at least I try to do as far as coaching and teaching, is try to motivate and inspire, empower our kids to be servant leaders. And so, our hope is when we give of ourselves selflessly, it'll also uplift the giver as well. So since June of 2008, we've been fortunate enough to help hundreds of families. Our first priority is Northwest Ohio. It used to be just all over the place because we're just trying to get our name out. And because we've grown, basically our give is Northwest Ohio and the state of Ohio. We've been fortunate enough since 2008 to donate to hundreds of families, and we've just exceeded over $500,000 in grants this past year. And this will just show you some of the families and kids that we have helped over the years. Our thought when we were helping the Inks family is we didn't want to have a narrow scope. There's a lot of families and kids out there, whether they make a little too much, but they're still struggling, they can't apply for any grants anywhere, or if there's a certain rare disorder and there's no association or foundation to help them. That's why our scope is really broad. And so we wanted to be able to help a ton of different families that have children with, a variety of different illnesses, no matter what it is. And so how to get assistance is pretty simple. And so you just log on to our website, parkerspurpose.net. We have an online application link. Our committee reviews the applications. We have a rubric system in place to prioritize each of the grant requests. We look at the references. I think the biggest thing, I know Tammy will look at this, just really being detailed with your description. It's not to say you have to tell your life story, but the more that you share, the more that really helps us to get to know the situation. And then once our committee has validated the request, we simply look at the need and recommend a donation amount to be given. So right now, our max grant is $1,000. And we really work to try to give the max grant dependent upon our situation. So we vote on the request and we either mail it or we hand deliver it. So we have 3 grant cycles. We currently are in our grant cycle right now. So we go January through March, and then we review the applications the following month. So same thing with May to July, review in August, and then September to November, and we review in December. And so we're funded by a variety of different fundraisers. Our main one is our dinner auction that we have every June and July. It started in June initially, and the last, probably 10 auctions have been in July. And we've usually had it around, our keynote speaker is usually a football theme. It's just kind of how this with Parker being a part of our football program. And so you'll see just different keynote speakers usually are football variety. And we try to pick speakers that have an inspirational message, whether they're a servant leader or they've gone through something in their lives and can give an inspirational message. We're also fortunate enough to have a golf outing as well, sponsored by Welty Financial in Fremont. And that's done really well for us. It's in July and it's at Sycamore Hills. We also do a Facebook birthday initiative. So if you're familiar with Facebook and how the birthdays work, So on your birthday, you can pick a charity of your choice to raise money for. This has been really, really successful for us. So if you would love to pick our charity, that would be great. And all the monies obviously go back out towards grants. We are fortunate enough that we do have some corporate providing grants from Express Professionals, which is in the Toledo area, Findlay, Bowling Green, and now Fremont. And then also McNaughton McKay. They also give monies for us every year. And then we've done some additional fundraisers as well. We've done some dining. We're very honored to be the nonprofit recipient of the Glass City Wine Fest this year, which is March 5th at the Seagate Center. So if you'd like to go out and drink a wine, it'd be great. The monies go to our foundation. Obviously, we have an annual campaign too, so friends and families of Parker's Purpose will donate as well. We were a Marathon Golf Classic nonprofit recipient a few years ago. There's some other ones as well. So kind of just, I guess, to wrap things up, we're here to help families to try to find a little financial release so they can worry about the most important thing, that's being a parent to their child and children. And there's our website. Like I said, if you know any families that need assistance that are looking, please encourage them to visit our website, or they can email us at parkerspurpose@gmail.com. And that is the gist of it, Tammy.
Thank you. Thank you. And as I've always said, you're one of the easiest funding organizations to get help from. Requirements, just to make sure, are you still 18? Is your cap?
We are, but we are in discussions to bump it up. So I would say that is probably going to happen. We're just looking at the legalities of what we have to do to make that possible. So I would say the next grant cycle, which would be June to August, that we will be bumped up to 26.
To what age? 26?
26, yeah.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yep.
And you just have to live in Ohio?
Yes. Yeah, when we initially started, Tammy, we started doing fundraisers that had money, and we just wanted to get our name out there. So we would have, applications from all over the place. And so it was really first come, first serve. And then as we've grown, our first priority is Northwest Ohio, and then the state of Ohio. So when we look at the applications and the grants cycle, in our rubric, the number one is always Northwest Ohio. Those are always the priority. And then if we have extra monies left over, we'll explore the whole state.
Okay. And documentation?
Yeah, we really don't ask for any. I know we rely on the references a lot. We really do. And we ask that and we'll call. But I guess we are trusting that, everything is factual. And I guess our thought too, and I think, we've, at least myself, I saw how the Inks family really struggled to try to navigate through functioning of the hospital. And I guess the last thing I want to do is have families try to come up all these medical paperwork to submit it. They're struggling enough, so we don't need any of that paperwork or nothing. So also, I did not mention, I can't believe I didn't mention, but our partnership with iTalk with Tammy, we're very, very fortunate to pair up with iTalk. And so twice a year, we're fortunate enough to help assist with giving iPads to families with kids on the autism spectrum. And then a prerequisite of ours is, in order to get the iPad, you have to attend a training from iTalk. So, boy, how many years have we been doing this? Probably about 8 years, right?
Yeah.
Sounds about right. So
yeah,
we do fun. That as well. Yeah, it's been absolutely fantastic.
Yep. And those are in April and October?
Yep.
So we kind of offset your normal giving.
Yes, perfect.
Yep. Some pointers that, maybe I don't want to give too many hints away, but I always like to help the people that do come in contact with us walk away with some, tips and tricks that can get their application to the top of the pile. And when you talk about your rubric, I know scoring applications is the hardest thing, but I always tell families the more they can give, the share, the better. It gives you something to score. Are there things that you have found that put them to the top of the pile a little bit more? Like, I just know with the cancer for Patty, do you find that those cancer kiddos pull on your heartstrings and get?
Yeah, it really does. I would just think being descriptive with the situation, I think for us, knowing what's going on with the child, the struggles that you're going through. Like I said, we're not looking for, your life story. I don't want you to feel uncomfortable sharing things you don't want to share. But really, the more you share, it really goes to the top of the list as opposed to, 3 or 4 sentences and that's it.
And would you say the references, I always recommend, because they don't have to provide proof of the situation of what they're going through or their diagnosis or any of that, if they can use professional references, it's a little bit better. Teachers, therapists.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, we have a lot of like therapists, the social workers, medical professionals. So yes, that absolutely does.
Because that's another way to show legitimacy. But
Correct.
yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
So, well, I guess we can open it up to families.
Yeah.
You hit all my things. I didn't know if there was anything super new about 2022 you guys were going to be focusing on. Do you have anybody in line for your guest speaker at your?
Well, we were going to do a dinner event at the Garden Hilton in March. And we kind of got freaked out a little bit with now all of a sudden the resurgence of COVID and everything. So we've kind of pumped the brakes on that a little bit. So we'll still have our dinner auction in July. What we were trying to do is do a reverse raffle in July and then have a dinner auction event with a keynote speaker in March. So eventually that's what's going to happen. Then we have our golf outing in July and then the wine fest now in March also. So right now we don't have anyone in mind yet. Soon.
Well, there was I had a family that emailed me prior to this that asked, is there things that they don't cover? Like, is there something that in your years doing this, have you read an application and really felt like this doesn't fit our mission? This isn't.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what, the thing is we don't require any type of receipt or anything like that. So, I mean, they could say that they're spending it for this and spend it on food and bills. I mean, obviously those are their needs. And so it really doesn't matter for us. Now, if you would write something that, you're using it for a vacation in Maui to get away, then we probably wouldn't accept it. But you could take it and use it for a vacation.
It's respite.
And you could. So
you talk to Patty. I bet she'd be all for.
There you go. Yeah. So, but no, I mean, you want a list that you're using it for, something for your son or daughter.
Yep. And I do have to say, my database is close to 700 funding organizations now. You guys are definitely one of the few that pay directly to parents. And I know you know that, and you do it for a reason. You get that everything costs more, quadruple a lot of times when you put special needs in the label of it. But that is from a parent who has received funding from Parker's Purpose, couldn't have asked for it at a more crucial time, and there was no questions asked. You were amazing. So,
well, thanks. And we get it. I mean, I guess you can pay little by little on medical bills, but shoot, if you need to pay the electricity, or your electricity is going to get shut off, to pay your electricity. So we're not going to question that. That's kind of the thought behind it.
Yep. And car repairs. I'm trying to think of families that I've
gas, right? You're going back and forth, gas, all that stuff, the necessity that you need right now.
So, well, do we have any questions from people that are on here?
I had a question. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Gotcha, Emily.
Okay, I've had troubles with my mic. I was on a Zoom earlier and they couldn't hear me, so I had to put on my stupid headset, which I hate. But anyway, that's beside the point.
Looks
Um,
like you need it.
So I work with Tammy at the board, and I have a family I've been working with, and you graciously funded them a few years ago. And she just contacted me today, as a matter of fact, and said, are we able to apply again? Or is it like a one time, we were granted some money and that's it? Or are they able to reapply again for something or not?
Yeah, they are. We usually have a 2-year window. But in that rubric, we're gonna put bottom as opposed to someone that's our first time applying. And it really just depends on how many applications we get in our grant cycle. We have a certain amount of money that's allotted per grant cycle. So, I mean, let's just hypothetically say they apply and we have monies left over, then they would be able to get a grant, but they would probably be at the bottom, unfortunately. We would love
Okay.
it. And a lot of it, Emily, is how successful we are with our fundraising. Unfortunately, we're on the upward slope. So, the more money we raise, the more money that we're allotted in our grants.
Right.
Yep, so
No,
that's apply.
that makes sense. She threw me for a loop when she asked that. I'm like, gosh, I
Yep.
never even thought about that.
Yeah, good
So
question. Good question.
yeah, thanks.
Todd, in
Yep.
your experience, is there a cycle that you get the most applications? Would you say the third one of the year because of the end of the year, or do you before summer?
It's pretty balanced, to be honest with you. It really is. I would say, the end of the year, we do, like you said, because it's the end of the year, and then a lot of our fundraisers are in July, so we're out there in the media a little bit. So, probably get a little bit more there. That's part of the reason why we're trying to do something in March too, to get us a little bit more exposure, and so it increase our applications as well.
Okay.
Yep.
Any other questions?
It's easy, shoot.
I feel like because you fund you're going to say yes to anything. You fund therapy, you fund summer camp, you fund equipment. Granted, your cap is $1,000, but I mean, another thing, I would tell families to definitely let you know maybe where else they're getting funding. Like, let's say they are looking for a $3,000 van lift or something. Showing collaboration, don't you feel like that kind of gets more points on your applications too? Like,
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Hands down. Yep, definitely does.
Monica says you've explained everything so well, no one has any questions. So I agree.
Wow. I tell you, if this was a Tuesday after a Friday football game, I'd be getting grilled. Why did you call that?
You gotta face, I can't
This is
hear you.
It's a lot easier than, Monday quarterback.
No. I do have a question here. Do applications not considered due to the availability of funds, would they roll over to the next period, or should the families reapply?
That's a great question. We have been fortunate right now that we haven't had that. I would say what we would get instead is lack of description in the for their application. That would probably be more of a reason than we didn't have enough funds for the grant. If we were in that situation, yes, we would probably roll over. But fortunately, we have not been in that situation.
Okay, so do you contact families either way? Like, let's say they needed more information, because keep it in mind, I don't know if we stressed, you guys are a volunteer run organization. There is no paid staff.
Yeah, we would. We do at times if we feel like we need more information, because we get it. I mean, we've gotten, their son or daughter has cancer and they're going through chemo and they give like, okay, let's just get a little bit more information. you know, we would definitely reach out and ask. Like I said, we're not asking for a huge break because we understand some situations, you know, doesn't allow for it maybe.
Yep.
Or it's hard to write, you know, it's hard to write everything that's going on.
Are you
'Cause-
still accepting paper applications too?
We are not. Everything is online now. Yeah. So everything is online. It just keeps easier for us. It's cleaner to keep track of. Because the mail, our office is my house. So, you know, the wife really likes it when there's all this Parker's Purpose stuff laying on there. So yes, that has helped ease her stress a little bit. So yeah, everything is online now.
Okay, we have one more. I have a family, a recipient that received an iPad for their son last year. And they were curious if they would still be allowed to apply for grant money for therapies and summer camp like this year.
Yeah, go ahead and apply. Absolutely. Yep. Yeah, because if there's money's left over, you know, in our grant cycle, absolutely. So definitely apply.
So you would like kind of prioritize them because they were a
Yeah.
past recipient, they'd
Yeah.
be lower.
Yeah, a little
But-
bit lower. But like I said, there's a good chance that, you know, we'll have monies.
Okay, question, is that $1,000 cap, do you take the 350 whatever iPad? No, so they could
No,
in a sense
we-
apply for,
Yeah, I don't think we would.
okay.
Yeah. Good question.
And lots of praise for Parker's Purpose on here as an
Yay,
amazing
thanks.
organization.
Appreciate it. Thanks a
you-
ton.
You do need to check your personal chat on here. Do you know how to do that? Because Wendy Smenner sent you a private message. So down on
Okay.
the bottom, you see the little chat thing?
Yep.
I wanted to make sure you saw it before we left. So,
I gotta figure out, I gotta be smart enough. Actually, have Wendy, have her email me at parkerspurpose@gmail.com.
okay.
I'm just a dumb football coach. I don't know.
No, you are not.
You know?
How many Zooms do you do in a week?
I tell you what, I was doing a lot of Zooms with COVID and everything, so I've become a lot more familiar with this, which is a positive that all this craziness has caused, because I do think this is, you know, pretty neat to be able to do this. It's a lot more efficient.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
thank
Wendy.
you.
Yeah, Wendy, email me please. I'm computer.
Okay.
Well,
Just,
thanks.
I am going to stop the recording, but I'll stay on and answer any other questions you guys might have for other things. The recording will be put on lucasdd.org under finding funds. My grant lists are all there, as well as every month's video will be there, and the one we did last March. Remember the one that we did with Courageous Community Services will be there, so you can see Todd again. But so I'm going to stop the recording. Oh, and next month's February's will be February 23rd, also at noon, and it's with a Project I Am, which is, they do their big event March 6th, I think, Acoustics for Autism. So they will